to know who everybody is and have a little record from everybody on the program. I would also like to ask you, just as a matter of technicality, to write down in the chat box your name, your email, and your telephone number, and the school that you represent. And so eventually we later make a list from all of these, and it will be easy to welcome you. So while we have our coordinator, Ram Neeman, joining us, he is just coming in now. We have the call recorded, and what I will do now, I will introduce the people from 2490 from the hosting district, because this is a short group, and then we will turn the speaker over to you, and we would like to hear, and Marianne will probably lead the way and introduce everybody to us. So I will start first myself. I'm Dr. Amnon Sheffi, and I'm the founder of the program. I'm an engineer in the background and have been very active in education for the last 20 years, using very advanced technologies to make modern education. And we have recently, that is in the last 15 years, developed the water-based program, which turns the water, the challenges and solutions into STEM education for sciences. We have a group of 13 people, coaches, all of high level PhDs or masters, you know, people with a lot of education, a lot of experience, and they coach the teachers and author the content, and we have a lot of industry involved. We have Ram Neeman, who is our program coordinator. Ram, you can say hello so everybody can hear you.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, Ram is a young PhD. He just graduated. He's an expert on cognitive sciences relative to mathematical education, and he is our coordinator for the international program. We have Shlomo Bronher from the Club of Ramle. This is the host club for the cooperation with Poland and also with India. Shlomo, you want to say hello, good evening?
Yes, everybody. Dobry wieczór. Jestem past prezydentem i członek klubu Ramle, dyskretu 2490. Pracowałem w izraelskim przemysłu lotniczym 42 lata i jestem w tym ICC Izrael Polska od 2013 roku do dzisiejszego czasu. Thank you. Dziękuję bardzo.
Very nice, very nice. A lovely audience here. We have more than 25 people in the evening in this. So this is a wonderful session. Marianne, it took us some time, but eventually we have a wonderful audience here. So we have Tzipora Meir, who is also past president from the Ramle Club, as is Shlomo. Tzipora, please introduce yourself. You have to turn on the speaker, Tzipora. Tzipora, if you don't turn on the speaker, we don't hear you.
Sorry. So it was in mute, yeah. Good evening. Greetings from Israel. It's a very nice meeting you to all of you. And I'm Tzipora Meir, International Director of Ramla Rotary Club. And we are really glad to have a good relationship with you, and also to in cooperation with this extraordinary project of the water saving programs. And we are looking forward meeting you all once that things will be clear up here in Israel, and the COVID-19 problems will be over. We warmly welcoming you all to come and visit Israel. But good evening.
Thank you very much, Tzipora. We are also excited to have people from all over the world, so yes. This is exciting. And we will tell you all about the water challenges in Israel and the kind of solutions that we have. I want to convey greetings from past district governor, Avner Fuchs, who is the chairman of the Water and Sanitation Committee here in District 2490, and he helped us found this program and promote it. And from the Haifa Rotary Club, the host club of the program, from Nathan Feldman, who is the program coordinator vice president of the club. This is the biggest club in the country, second to oldest club, and they have about 100 Rotarians in it, so it's a lovely opportunity. My late father was the president of this club, but just to be very clear, unfortunately, I am not a Rotarian, and the reason I'm not a Rotarian is because of this program, because to avoid conflict of interest, I was told by the TRF that I would better be just hosting the program. So I'm a Rotarian in soul, but I'm not a Rotarian, you know, formally. Now I will turn the speaker now to Marianne. And Marianne, will you please introduce the people and have everyone say a few words and write down in the chat box your contact information, please, Marianne. Ruben, excuse me, I missed one person.
Okay.
Ruben, please say a few words. Ruben joined us from the Lord Club. I missed him. I'm sorry. Ruben, please say hello.
Good evening.
Hello to everyone. I am from Poland, Lodz Rotary Club, the second oldest club. And today we have a lot of attendees from Poland. And because I sent and invited many people, just in general, sending emails to clubs. So I would like to ask you to present yourself. So let me to start maybe from Anna Stawikowska. Few words and...
Okay. So as I told you formally, I am the chairperson for ICC committee between Poland and Israel, but thanks to Shlomo Bronker activity, I'm already involved in your project. And I will cooperate with one primary school, which is situated near Toruń. And the headmaster of this school is present today. This is Mr. Przemysław Piotrowski. And we will have a lot of questions to you afterwards.
Okay, very good. This is what we are here for. Excellent. Thank you very much, Anna. Okay. Who is next?
Przemysław Piotrowski was introduced, or you would like to say a few words yourself?
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm head teacher in Obrowo primary school. I hope give information for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Mariusz Woźniczka, please.
Hi, hello. I am a journalist and a TV producer. Producer of TV formats, programs, festivals, concerts, and cross-media projects in cooperation with one of the biggest TV group in Poland, Polsat Group. I have realized for 3 years my own air festival, and we think about new productions. We would like to produce interviews and documentaries about problems with water, of course, and that's why these programs, these films could be useful as school materials, educational materials, and we think about broadcasting these films on the internet and on TV channels.
Excellent, very good. We will have a lot of things to do together. Welcome. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe that I ask Bogdan Rzejmo a few words.
All right. Well, I am from the club of Konstancin in Warsaw, and we started cooperation with the Lithuanian club from Soleczniki, and Artur Stefanowicz is present here, also with 2 teachers. One teacher of English, Dorota Skelnie from Pobrodzie, and another one from Soleczniki. And that's, let's say, this is Beata Zarubna, I understand. And we are ready to cooperate with our Polish Konstancin school. And Paulina is present here also, I believe. Paulina?
We'll hear in a minute. We'll see. We'll find out in a minute.
Right,
Thank you very
right.
much. Very good.
So this is our intention to join 3 schools, 3 groups of teachers, 3 groups of students, and to try to present some kind of a project inside the project, global project as we are.
Excellent. Very good. Okay, you present a big challenge for us, and hopefully we will be able to meet it. But we welcome the challenge. Okay.
So
who is next?
Bogdan, ask your guests.
Oh yes, well, let's start perhaps from Beata Zarubna.
Good evening. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to participate in the meeting. First of all, because I meet new people, widen my horizons, and also can contribute to the flow of education in my school. So I would like to advertise a little bit the place I come from, whereas a town inhabited by 6,000 people, and we have all necessary facilities, swimming pools, stadiums, art schools, and so on. And we have no traffic jams. And if we want to encounter traffic jams or just visit bigger city, we have the capital of Vilnius, the capital of Lithuania, Vilnius, an hour away from our place. And our region is very beautiful in nature. We have 5 lakes, 5 ponds, 3 rivers, and the whole Lithuania come to our river Murkis for kayaking. And in that nature live our students, 700 students in the school I represent, and also 700 families. And we can make the change by cooperation. And we take part in various projects. We tried projects connected with dancing, with food, with other school living, but we have never done the project connected with water challenge. And that's a challenge for us as well. And we are very happy to have an opportunity to cooperate and to make the change, because we think that prevention is better than intervention. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Beautiful. So that's a lovely opportunity for everybody, and we're glad to have people from all over Poland. So it's very wide and very challenging. Very good.
This is not the end. Amnon, this is not the end, because I'd like to introduce also Dorota Skienie from Pobrady, Podbrodzie.
Okay, very good.
Dorota?
Yes, hello to everyone. Nice to see you here. And my name is Dorota, and I'm an English teacher in Pobrady. It's a small town in Lithuania, and it's near the capital, Vilnius. And I teach in Žeimena Gymnasium in Pobrady, and Žeimena is the name of the river. And I'm happy I was invited to this project, and I want to learn more. That's all.
Very good, very good. You will learn, and we will learn from you. Very good.
Thank you.
Okay. So,
and right now it's Paulina, perhaps.
Paulina, okay, Paulina.
My mamy, dzień dobry, mamy tutaj reprezentantkę naszej dużej grupy i ona powie, zapraszam. Tu się Pani Aniu, może za naszą grupę dużą Pani wszystko powie.
Yes, of course. Good evening, everyone. I'm Ania Gorgoń, and I'm an English teacher in primary school in Konstancin-Jeziorna, and Paulina, Ms. Paulina Kaczmarczyk is our head teacher. I'm here with Ania Jura and with Kasia Kalmus. So we're all together, like 4 of us, joining our first meeting here, and we hope to learn more information about the project, and we hope to contribute as well.
Very good, very good. So what does Paulina teach? What subject does Paulina teach?
Polish.
Polish.
Oh, Polish language. So you teach language. Okay.
I teach language. I teach English. My other colleague Ania Jura teaches geography, and Kasia is the teacher assistant.
Very good. Okay, so we have geography and we have Polish and we have English. Excellent. Very good.
And another one. This is the last one. This is Artur Stefanowicz, who is the president of the Rotary Club in Soleczniki. And I think he would speak some words in Polish, I believe. I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
Artur?
Tak. Witam. Niestety nie rozmawiam po angielsku tak dobrze jak wszyscy, dlatego tylko mogę po polsku kilka słów powiedzieć. Cieszę się bardzo, że mamy możliwość dołączyć do projektu. Pozdrowienia wszystkim.
Dziękuję bardzo.
Well, thank you very much. So we are, let's say, bilingual or perhaps trilingual, and we'll try to do our best.
Okay, very good. And we all use water, so there's a common denominator for everybody.
Right.
Okay, right. I'll drink to that. Water is the most important thing. Okay, very good. Okay, Mayan, who else do we have?
The next group, I think, will be introduced by Grażyna Kozińska. And herself. She would present.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Hi, everybody. I'm Grażyna Kozińska. I'm a teacher of English in a school, small independent school in Warsaw. And because that is the project for schools, really, I brought my colleague with me, Ms. Dorota Wasilkiewicz, but I also brought two of my students, Mateusz and Wiktor.
Oh, excellent. Okay, welcome. Beautiful. Okay.
And well, I'm not going to say anything about my school because I think they know much more about it than we do. And okay. All right. Perhaps Dorota would like to say something.
Okay, Dorota, we are listening to you.
Hello, perhaps. Okay, about the school, it's going to be say something by Mateusz, but for me, I'm a Dorota, I'm a gym teacher, and I'm a supervisor of the Students' Council. Also, I'm a member of the association Together for Bielany. It's a association which is founded by the mayor of our district, Bielany, in Warsaw. This association does a lot of ecological action. Like a stop plastic, drink tap water, segregation of rubbish, or on every, there is a how to say, yeah, there is a water card at every picnic. Every picnic is a water card because Warsaw tap water is clean. A support group also helping Bielany was established during COVID time. We collect blankets, food, bottled water. We make sandwiches, approx 100 every day, every evening, 100 sandwiches and water delivered to the hospital and medical emergency station.
Yes,
our school also took part in it. That's why more about what?
Go ahead.
I say something. No, I heard something.
Okay,
maybe it's
problem with the sound,
okay,
but
more
it's
about
okay.
our school action, introduce maybe Mateusz Kaczmarczyk.
Thank you, Dorota. Good afternoon. My name is Mateusz Kaczmarczyk and I am 70 years old. I am a representative of the Polish non-public high school under the patronage of American Airmen in Warsaw. I am also the chairman of Student Council. I'm here with my English teacher, Mrs. Grażyna, and my PE teacher, Mrs. Dorota Wasilkiewicz, and my colleague from
Sound like you can be an English teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
I am very happy to participate in this project now, especially as it concerns the area where I'm active so far, because I am the part of the Fridays for Future organization. I hope we can create a nice project together in international environment. And in my school, from the very first classes, was focusing on environmental and climate education. And when I went to my school first time, I met a lot of people and my colleagues which were working in a climate organization, and I felt very inspired because of that.
Very good, very good. Okay, so we will be able to address those challenges, and it is exciting to have you with us because we are worrying about the future. And of course, you, the students, are the future. So it's excellent to have you around with us. Excellent. So who else is from your school now present with us?
Oh, it's Victor.
Hello. So just like Mateusz said, our students are very interested in ecology. So I think it would be like a great experience for us and very good for the environment and for the world.
Okay, thank you, Mateusz. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Mateusz.
Yeah, exciting. I'm glad that you brought students with you. Go ahead, Marianne. Who is next?
Yes, the next, Michael Sobczak from my club.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I hope that Rotarians from Ramla should remember me because I organized our first appointment online just a few months ago.
I remember, and you were in the car then.
Yeah.
I remember, yes.
So I am a businessman and a photographer. I think that's all for the beginning. Thank you.
The next person is Mark Krawczyński. Please, Mark, just a few words. Second time participate.
Yes, hello. I'm an architect. I live in Warsaw now, even though I spent most of my life in Australia. And I'm also a assistant public image coordinator for Zone 18, which is the Poland and the Scandinavian countries. I'm very glad to be here, and I think the project is wonderful because water is going to be the most needed resource in the world this century. We're coming to that point very shortly. So thank you. Wonderful project. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's so lovely to have you here, and the pictures around you shows that you all have a lot of cherish for books and for knowledge. I can see your libraries. And so this is an exciting time. You can see the library behind me. So we have a lot of common of knowledge as it is now, and especially as it grows to the future. And this is our focus. And of course, the youngsters, the students don't understand why we refer to books. They want to see it all on the internet, of course, but it's the same thing, knowledge and how we develop as it goes forward. Okay, who is Gen X? We have Raymond here with us.
Tomasz Michalik from Białystok, from Poland.
Hello, my name is Tomasz Michalik. I'm president of Rotary Club in Białystok. Actually, I'm working as technical director, organizing design development of all various components for engine management for automotive industry. But my one of my educational background is actually irrigation, fertigation, all kind of let's say growth control for vegetable crops. So that's like for me it's like going really back like 40 years ago to the time, let's say, I've been starting my education. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, it's great to have you here. And now we know the secret that you understand in irrigation and the technology systems around it. It has changed in the last 40 years, true. But we will recruit you as an expert because the growth and the products and the trees still need water. So that stayed the same. Okay.
And Israel is #1 in irrigation.
Okay, but we need, Israel is leading, but there is need for water everywhere. So for watering and so forth, and that's interesting. Okay, who else joins us now?
Arkadiusz, please. Our former GSE student.
Okay, hello everyone, I am Arkadiusz. I am a trainer in training center, one of the biggest energy and oil company in Poland. I teach a young employee and students how to work safe. And I was a team leader few volunteer projects dedicated to school, hospital. And in this year, we think with Mr. Marian how to organize new project dedicated to school, how to save water. We think especially about something game for smartphone, and maybe we use Lego programs or something. Now it is only idea, but maybe in the future will be done. Thank you.
Okay, excellent, Arkadiusz. It is great to have you. A few things, comments. First of all, number one, safety is the most important element of our program. Since we teach, out of school, not now, of course, because of the COVID, but in general, and say as we are taking students away from school, it is, of course, there is danger, and so therefore we are very, very concerned with safety, and we make this a major issue. So we tell the students that our prime purpose of the whole program is not education, is not to have fun, is not water. Prime number one purpose is to come back home safe, to return home safely. And this is not trivial. So we make a big issue out of safety, and it's great to have you, and especially that you have inspiration to work with Lego and applications on smartphones. This is exactly our plan. We will show you a few things. So I think we will have a lot of great time together. Safety, Lego, applications put together. This is us. So you come to the right place. Okay, Marianne, who is next?
There is a person, Jacek. I don't know. He's from Lublin, I think.
Jacek.
Jacek.
Jacek, we are listening to you. Okay. Maybe from Lublin, but he has difficulty with the speaker.
Maybe that he has some difficulties. So
Okay.
whom I
You
can...
catch us later. Jacek, you
Yes,
catch
yes,
us
no
later.
problem. I saw Andrzej Jaskurski, but is not present at the moment. He was. Maybe that Piotr is not now here.
I will introduce myself. I'm Raymond Tomecki from Rotary Club Warszawa Wilanów.
Yes, you are very welcome. Sorry.
Thank you. I'm secretary of the club. I've been Rotarian for about 3 years, and I'm representing our club here. We are very interested in water. In fact, we just recently contributed money to a well being built in Uganda. We are here just to listen and to learn more about your project. My colleague Ewa Wierzchowska, and maybe she wants to say a few words.
Yeah, so my name is Ewa Wierzchowska. I am also the member of a club Rotary Wilanów. I'm an engineer. I finished at the Warsaw Polytechnic Environmental Engineering. And also I'm a member of Environmental Sustainability Rotarian Action Group together with Mark Krawczyński. So this is a group who that's mission of it is to support the environment and fight with pollution of the environment. So the subject for me is really very interested. So that's why I'm here.
Very good. Very glad to have you. We feel we are part of this, and we've been leading this environmental issue. We focused on water, but of course the challenge is much wider. And we are talking about recycling and resources of water, but also about minimizing the use of energy when you treat water, because there is the energy-water nexus. There's always requirement for energy when you process water. So this has a secondary effect on the environment as well. So it's a subject that we will address, and we are very glad to have you. And we are glad that the Rotary has turned the environment into a major focus area. So we have 7 focus areas now. Water has been one, of course, for a long time, but now we also have the environment as a whole. And we will be addressing that in a program in the recycling of plastic, the protection of sea. And we will tell you how we recycle water in Israel, which is really a very significant and it is a good example of how to recycle and how to make this a change and to continue developing. It is not a situation where you recycle and you have the problem solved. No, you need to keep on researching and developing. It's an ongoing process. So even though we are advanced, we still have to keep on working, and we will tell you more about it. Okay, I think we're almost done. We have still Małgorzata.
Oh, Małgorzata Undziło.
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening.
I am from Gdańsk, north of Poland. I represent Gdańsk Centrum Rotary Club, a relatively new club. I was treasurer of the club, and now I am a president-elect. I am interested for the projects for my club, but except that I am very much interested in really important hot subjects for the environment, and of course connected with that circular economy, because I am business mentor in that area, in the new projects and also in develop companies. I will just listen and come back with that subject to my club.
Very good, excellent. We are glad to have you. And coming from Gdańsk, of course, you worry about the sea and about the port and the shipyard, everything, being business woman from Gdańsk, so that's very clear. And I'm an ex-Navy man, so I understand that aspect of it, and we're very glad to have you. Okay,
thank you.
Are we pretty much done, Marianne, or do we still have more people that we didn't cover?
I am not sure. Maybe that's all.
Is there anyone that we didn't mention? Please raise your hand and say something.
I'm David Brown. I'm part of the Warsaw Wilanów Club, although I'm living most of the time in Gdynia, so very near to Małgorzata there.
Okay, and what is your background?
I am sitting in Gdynia, so hello.
I'm in a Warsaw, so just along the. Yes, I was president of the Wilanów Club, and the club at the moment is becoming very active, and so I'm here to listen.
I see. All right. And what is your background, Mr. Brown?
My background is I have taught. I've been chaplain to the Church of England here in Poland for many years, and so I've had a very wide background, but I'm here, as I say, tonight to listen.
Very good, excellent. Okay, so we have a wonderful audience, and it took much longer than I thought, but it was worth spending because we wanted to get to know you. So now we know you and you know us. Now we will spend a few minutes now going briefly over the program. You have a presentation, and you have a number of presentations that we have sent you the link to a warehouse, a Google Drive folder with all the presentations, which I will show you. So I will proceed without spending too much time to show you the main presentation that we have prepared to as an overview of the program. And then we will discuss how to proceed with the program going forward. And what will be the expectations and what we can provide you and what you can do in the future. So let me share the screen and we can look at that. Okay, excellent. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, we can.
You see the screen? Okay, very good. Ram, Ram, is it open enough? Is it?
רואים, כן, רואים את המסך.
אוקיי, זה על המסך הפתוח או שאני אקטין?
זה על פרזנטר ויו, אתה על פרזנטר ויו, תבטל אותו.
לא, אני לא רוצה את הפרזנטר ויו, אני רוצה את ה... בואו נעשה את זה רגע. אם אני אעשה את זה ככה ואני... אז אין לי שליטה ברגע, רק שנייה, ונעשה ככה. Just a minute, bear with me with a minute, we'll... Okay, this is what I want. Okay, very good. Okay, now, עכשיו זה בסדר? Now it's a full size?
עכשיו מצוין, כן. Yes.
כן? Okay.
It's full size now.
Okay, so this is the twinning program. Ram, this is present of view now, or is it okay and full screen? Ram?
It's full screen now. Yes, you can continue.
Okay, very good. Excellent.
It's full screen now.
Okay, good. So I want to go over the program, but before we forget ourselves, I want to give you a little homework assignment because I don't want to forget it. We will show you the program and then we will plan and see how we work forward. But what we want to ask you is to tell us next time of your specific interests in water and what of this content that I will show you and that you can see in the folder what would be an area of focus that you would want to work on? Marianne has outlined a program with a little competition for artwork or maybe some piece like this, and it's nice. And we want to see what would be your interest so that next time we meet, we can help you devise a program going forward. I think we will have a meeting maybe in 2 weeks' time. You know, we usually do it in 1 month, but now since the time is short, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks' time. And so we would like to ask you to look at the material, deep into it, and then come up with whatever you think would be interesting for your schools, for your club, so that we can then team you up with schools in Israel. So this is for the homework assignment. We will write it down, and Marianne has this plan for the competition. So there's a lot of work to do. Now let's go into the program itself. So this is Rotary Hands Across Water, twinning side by side schools in Israel and schools around the world. And our goal in simple terms is not just to do study and STEM and science and so forth, but also to develop awareness of the water and sanitation challenges and solutions that become available for the students, so that the students are aware of it and that they can worry about the future, because unless we do something, the problem is very major. Now, we start because we thought this was successful in Israel. We've been operating for a number of years very successfully, but we had a visit by the president of Rotary International, Barry Racine, the president from last year, and or rather 2 years ago, and he saw the program and saw the students, and he said, you are working on water, you are working on building relationship between communities, Jewish and Arab and so forth, and you are working on education, water, education, peace building together. This is Rotary, he said. So please take it to the world. So this is what we're doing. Direct order from the PRI, and we had other vice president PRI and previous PRIs to come and visit, and they all have the same impression. So we are actually fulfilling here a mission for the Rotary as a whole. In fact, I can share with you that just this week, this very week, the Rotary International, we have someone with the speaker open. Please shut the speaker off. Okay, so we have a review by a Rotary Foundation of the global grant. We have now, this is the third global grant, and it is considered one of the most successful global grants in the Rotary in the world, because it has sustainability, because we've been operating with the TRF for 8 years already with 3 global grants, and they're very interested in reviewing what it is that makes it work. And now that we are going forward further and expanding it, it should be very interesting. So we're very likely we will become a major program together in the world. So this is our inspiration. And in the twinning, we actually want to have schools in the world collaborate with schools in Israel, where we make it very light. Namely, you can study a water challenge and a water solution that applies to Poland, and it may be different in Warsaw and in Gdansk or in Lublin and elsewhere. And of course, it will be very different in our situation in Israel. Nevertheless, it is a challenge of water, and we have technology that can help us. And most importantly, we become aware and we want to address the challenge, especially with the young generation. So this is in common, and that's what we want to share. So we will show you how we do it in Israel and what technologies we use. And we will show you in detail how we turn this into education. But that isn't to say that you need to do exactly the same thing. You can do it on your own, in your own way, with your own subject. But the principles of how to do it, how to apply the technology as science education, what is STEM, how do you use Lego or other devices, these are things that we can help you with. And so the idea is that we provide you some information and some background on desalination and wastewater reclamation that we do, but this is intended to inspire you, not necessarily to dictate that you do the same thing. By all means, we want to learn. Everybody does what is relevant to their place. So in one slide, 7 lines, we capture the whole program. So what is the program? STEM education, standing for science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So it is very multidisciplinary, not only mathematics, not only history, not only technology, combined, very unique. It is based on water and sanitation as a challenge, and of course the environment in general. But we make it relevant to the curricula. This is extremely important, especially that we have teachers and students with us. So what we're saying is there is mathematics and there is physics and there is biology in every water system around, whether you pump water or you reclaim or you do biological treatment, whatever. So the idea is to show the youngsters, to show the students how mathematics is relevant. Where do we use algebra or geometry or trigonometry and so forth? So whatever we choose as a subject, whether it's pollution or worrying about water reservoirs for the future, we want to see how it is relevant to the curricula. Unless we do that, we cannot spend a lot of time in the school teaching about it. It may be very interesting, project work, team collaboration. The students would love it, that could be, but unless we have some value relative to the curricula, then the school will not be able to dedicate the most important budget that it has, and that is not money. The budget is the time of attention of the students when they come to school. They have so much work, so much distraction, so many games to play and so forth, so they have very, very short span of attention. And the school doesn't want to waste that, and it is willing to dedicate the time only if we produce value relative to the curricula. So it will be up to you to select a subject, but also to consult with the school about the curricula and to make the connection. We became expert in that. We realized that it is important. We consult with the students, with the teachers, even with the parents. And we make sure that when we bring a subject, it is relevant to the city or a water utility and so forth, but it is also relevant to the curricula. So now it becomes valuable for the teacher. It's an interesting way to study mathematics or economy or whatever. The next thing is, of course, the very modern approach of using projects. So in actuality, we don't just teach and then do exams, but we're actually building a project. So if you build a project or you research a topic or you do some reverse engineering, you ask yourself, how does water reclamation work? A water reclamation cycle is a very delicate and complex process. Biological, physical, chemicals, and how does it work? How much energy does it require? How much money does it require? And does it pay? So when you do this, you do reverse engineering of an existing facility or even of just a little water pump, you can apply all the mathematical principles or the physics and so forth. So you use research, you use reverse engineering, you use PBL, very advanced methodology of study. Now, the element number 5 is very crucial for the students, because we don't just worry about the way it was in the past, although we teach the history of water treatment, or where it is now and what the challenges are, but we also want to point to the future, because we want to provide the youngsters with tools to prepare for their future. Now, the future is very challenged because there will not be enough water unless we do something about it. And so you will see everything we do has a vision of the future. And since this is all new technologies, it does require a lot of thinking on the future. And so the chairman of the Israeli Water Authority, the National Water Authority, addressing our students, 200 students in the graduation event 2 years ago, he said, in the past, the question was energy, and the world seems to be solving the energy problem with green energy and so forth. It will take another 10, 20 years, but we are getting there. But the problem is water now. And so he said, and the problem with water does require a lot of technology. And so he was very commending the students for studying the subject, because he said research will be needed into the future. So this is the business of working into the future, not just now and what the problem were and the trend, but where is this heading? What would the solution be? I'll give you an example. We are reclaiming wastewater, but it requires a lot of energy. Can we do it with less energy? Well, we can, but it requires more development, and so forth and so on. And then what we're doing now is to work together across the cultures. So we started this out in Israel between Jews and Arabs, but once we worked together on that, and it was very interesting because what happens is when you try to put Jewish and Arab students in Israel together and talk about peace, either way they talk about conflict because this is the nature of the thing. But if you put them together to worry about water, then they work together. And when they work together, all of a sudden there's cooperation, they know each other and so forth. That has been our experience. So now working with Poland, you know, you have your political conflict, we have our political conflict and so forth, but we are working on water, we are working on our future. So there is collaboration, and then you get to know each other and so forth. So cross-cultural collaboration is something that we do, is part of the program. So these are the 6 elements that make up the program, and now we will tend to go and see exactly what it is. Just in numbers, we've been operating since 2006. HiTeach, the founder of the program, a company that I started 20 years ago. We've had 22,000 students in our programs, 15,000 of which were in the water. We have over 100 schools in Israel, and we provide coaching and content and so forth. And we are working with the TRF for 8 years, and we've been recognized as the noteworthy program of the centennial years in Atlanta, a very meaningful award. And so we continue to develop it. And the idea is that we are looking at knowledge as it grows, and that's part of it. Now, you will have this presentation, so you can watch the video. I'll just show you, you click on it, and the video comes on. We're not going to spend a lot of time now on the video, but it describes the overall program, and there's a lot of elements of the teachers and the project and the Lego project that they did, worrying about the quality, visiting water facilities.
We can't see the video.
These are students telling about the experience, about how it changed the world, water quality, computer work. This is
the video is not on.
This is an expert from Germany, from Munich, who researched history of water and environment as it relates to residue in ancient aqueducts, Roman aqueducts, of which there are 3,000 aqueducts around the Mediterranean. So discovering this approach, studying isotopes, he was able to get a picture of 3,000 sampling points over 2,000 years of history. An amazing project developed in Munich. He was in Israel. He is teaching here a group of Arab and Jewish students working together on it. So it's really very fascinating. You see, he's chopping off a piece of residue and so forth. So these are the kind of projects, and I think we don't have more time for this video. We will continue, but you have this presentation and you can watch it, more carefully in your time. Now, what do we provide? So HiTeach provide training, and so our support and the meetings that we will have with the teachers will provide you guidance. We give you STEM ideas based on the subject that you want to address or help you design the project. We provide e-learning and support through Zoom. Usually in Israel, we do school visits. Of course, it is more difficult to do it now with the COVID, but we can do it through Zoom as well. We do outdoor visits in general. Of course, again, this cannot happen now, but in order to solve this problem, we developed a method whereby we take movies, 360-degree virtual reality movies, which you can view with goggles and so forth. I'm sure the students would love to see it, and we use virtual reality tools, and you can use, and it's straight off Google, and you can see and watch it like this, and the students love it, and so it's a real visit into the into the water facilities. So rather than going outdoors, we bring the facilities into the classroom. And now, given that this is on YouTube, you will be able to share it and see it as well. So this is, in fact, becomes a big advantage for you. And then we do the twinning, as we said, which we will talk about. And we recommend that you connect with local industry. And we'll talk about in a minute, what does it require for you to connect. So again, in terms of the motivation, the idea is to create awareness of the problem. Once the students understand it, they tell their teachers, they tell the family and other comrades in class, in school, and so forth. And so when the young generation understand the challenge, they will be able to have an impact on the government and eventually to address the problem. So this is the solution, and it requires a lot of money. And so this is why it's very important that there is political pressure to do it eventually. In the twinning program, we provide the basis for the work and then potential collaboration between the schools. The goals, as we said, is to promote the awareness of the challenge. When we look at the process of how do we do the twinning, to be very practical, we've come up with this 7-step cycle, very simple steps where we first of all teach the teachers like we do now. So we give you some idea and provide you the content. We work together with you to identify the focus areas. And so this is the homework that I ask you to prepare for next time. So think about what may be interesting. You can prepare 1 or 2 subjects. We will have you choose and we can show you what you can do in terms of STEM with every subject, and identify the curricular value, whether it relates to English or to history or to physics or mathematics or Lego, whatever the interest may be. Then you study the science background of that subject, because if you want to worry about desalination of seawater, which we do, there is a lot of chemistry, physics, energy, and so forth. So there are physics chapters that you want to study ahead of time. So you want to, as Newton said, standing on the shoulders of giants. So you want to know who the giants are, what sort of basic sciences you need in order to go into. So that would be the next step. And then you study, of course, the challenges and the possible solutions. And then you develop the STEM project based on the idea that we outline with a program, and whether you do research or reverse engineering, and what is the outcome that you expect. Once you do that and you start to make the program and to do the reporting, like in a science fair and a science assignment, which I'm sure you've been exposed to, we prepare the twinning. So we want you to have something about the program, some knowledge, some focus area, before we connect you with the schools in Israel who are underway, so that you feel you come not with empty hands, but rather with something of your own. So this is why we will wait for a while. We have schools ready. They're ready to team up with you. It's lovely that you have 3 schools available, or 4, and we will team you up. We even have a school in Ramle that has joined us recently, so we can make a teaming like this. And so that should not be a problem, but we want you to progress a little bit in the program, so you will have something to show. And once you do the connection, first between the teachers and then later with the students, the idea is the following. The schools in Israel work about the problem that they have in their place that is interesting for them, desalination, maybe irrigation, whatever. You can work on a challenge that you think fits your school. It doesn't have to be the same subject at all. And then when you are ready, after you had it introduced and you know the teachers, you produce a report in English, a report, maybe a YouTube video, a slide, maybe a presentation, whatever you feel, maybe a piece of art. Even a dance is okay. You had a class that presented a dance about a machine. It was lovely. So you present some product, educational product, and so does the school in Israel. It is done in English, so it's an international exchange language, and they will send to you their product, and you will send to them your product. And so both schools have now a description of the other school's product and process and what you did. I recommend that you take pictures and videos along the way, As you develop the program, take a picture of the class working together, of the experiment, of the visit to the facility. And when you are finished, you look at all the pictures, they tell a story. So you tell a story, they look at your story, you look at their story, and you provide comments, it's the same, it's different, what you can learn from each other, suggestions that you have, and so forth. In any free form that you want, you can exchange. And then when you exchange, we organize a meeting. So now when you are meeting with the teachers and then with the class, there is a lot of substance at the base. You have worked together, you have exchanged some product, and so there is communication based. There is something to talk about. So we hope that communication will be very vivid at this point. And so this is the twinning, and you discuss the product together. And if this is successful, then of course we present it in our graduation event. We will talk about it in a minute. It's on the 22nd of March, and it will be a virtual event, and it will have two elements. It will have a virtual exhibition where you can present a video or a poster or a model that you built, something from Facebook or from YouTube or in any form, any digital form that you want. And there will be a way of interaction because there will be visitors. There will be a lot of visitors in this virtual exhibition. Other students and a lot of Rotarians from all over the world. So we will open it up in the show time, and we will expect the students and the teachers to be available in their virtual booths, and they will be addressed by the public, by the visitors, and ask questions and so forth. So you will have an opportunity to actually participate in an exhibition. So this is one part of the graduation event, which is of course international, and it is done on the 22nd of March of 2021, which is the International Water Day. So it's a very exciting event. And then of course also we will take some very successful programs and very successful twinning, and we will present them to a full audience in a presentation that you can see with an interview and some presentations that you will make. So these are going to be the elements. Of course, there will be greetings from the Rotary and so forth and all the supporting organization. So this is the overall program. And of course, if we are successful, and I think we will be, but we don't know, and this is new, and this is a pilot, so we may make mistakes here and there. It's okay. But if it is okay, and if we are successful, we want to spread the word. We have started now with 4 schools in Poland. We want to do, maybe 10 or 20 schools next year, and so forth around the world. And if we are lucky, in 2-3 years, we can reach 100 or 200 schools around the world, and then we are starting to make an impact. If we have 1,000 schools working together around the world, and not necessarily, with Israel in the center, we can work, between schools between Poland and America and Romania and India. We have schools now from India, from Romania, from Albania, from Kosovo, from the United States, of course, and now from Poland as well. So it's very nice for openers, but we want to have, of course, more. So the idea will be to spread the word. So this is the key process. There is a very detailed document of all these 7 steps, but these are the key elements of the steps. Now, relative to the problem, I don't think we need to address a lot of it, but you know that global crisis on water is really challenging. In fact, there are more people in the world with cell phones than people with access to good water and certainly to good sanitation. Even in America, 15% of tapped water is dangerous for health. And so this is very, very challenging. Of course, we know there are other challenges in America these days as well, but this is part of the problem that this needs to be addressed. So the problem is really, really very challenging. And so what do we do about it? This is like in one slide, we say, Israel is leading in terms of what does Israel do? How do we lead? So in fact, there are a few elements and they're all on this slide. First of all, the technologies that we apply. So we reclaim wastewater. This is the most important impact. And we take every water that came home and then we use it. It goes to the recycling. You see this big recycling, water recycling facility. And when the water are treated, they are not just recycled to be released to the environment, but they are recycled to a high level of purification so that we can use it for irrigation. So what happens is every liter of drinking water is used twice. Once for us to use at home, mostly of course for sanitation, for toilet and so forth. But then when it goes down the drain to the sewage treatment system, it is used again later on in the agriculture. Now this is very challenging. It requires a lot. For instance, in the winter time, the farmers have rain, so they don't want to pay for the water. So you need to recycle the water and then to store it, to wait from the winter to the summer. So big reservoirs all over the country. Now this water is not drinking water and it is not waste, but it's in the middle. So a whole different piping system painted in purple in Israel for that. So a lot of technology. Now the question here, very relevant, is the question of does it have any ramification, maybe dangers? For instance, there is the question of does it have any impact on the produce or does it have any impact on the soil? And it turns out it doesn't have too much to do with the produce, that is okay, but it does have an impact on the soil. So that you need to keep researching what the impact is. We have been doing this in Israel for over 20 years now, so we are starting to have experience, but it's very important to keep on researching. So this is wastewater reclamation. The other thing we do is the seawater desalination. All of our drinking water, or most of our drinking water, comes from the sea. Being desalinated, it requires a lot of energy, but this is, again, you desalinate from the sea and then you use it twice. Now, when we take this water and use it for irrigation, we also use it in a very smart manner through drip irrigations and so forth, and we don't waste it like in flood irrigation. So right there you see three elements of technology that make the equation completely different. And then also there is a lot of water loss around the world. The average water leakage in the cities in the world runs around 25 or 30%. The leakage in Israel is below 6%, and it's getting even better. And you need to invest a lot of technology and money in doing that. But if you get the leakage to very little, it's another source of water. So these are the four technologies, and they are supported, of course, by the law that says that, for instance, all the water belongs to the government, to the country, to the people, so that the wastewater has to come to this reclamation facility. So the foundation of regulation is very important. So there is broad application of these technology, and that is also something that Israel does very uniquely with public interest. It's removed from the politics. Very interesting. It was not like this always. It's only like on the last 15 years that it has been like this, and we are very grateful for that. It's been very successful in terms of the management. It is all the stakeholders are involved: the government, the public, the farmers, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Treasury, Ministry of Water, of course, education system, and so forth. Everybody is involved, so it is very balanced. Of course, the public, the academy, and so forth. And then we also do education, which is what we are doing, taking this entire thing and educating the young generation, basically. So these are the key elements. There are also other small elements, but these are the key elements that make the Israeli solution so successful. And we will discuss all of them in the process. Now, in terms of background material, there is an excellent book called Let There Be Water. It's a multidisciplinary book that talks about all those things that we do. And I recommend that you purchase it. It's available on Amazon, and it really tells you the story. It's in English, and you can really get a broad picture, and this will be an excellent reference. You get some material from us as well, but this is a very good textbook to use. And we have labs and so forth. Then we also have content in Arabic, and we would love to have content in Polish that you will translate and provide it to us, and we will upload it to the website, and so more people can share it. So that would be very exciting. Now, Seawater desalination is a big chapter, so you can see it, and there's a whole presentation about it. But here's an example of a student in the research lab in the Technion, the leading Israeli technical university, so that the student girl understands the structure of the membrane, which is depicted here in the picture, before she comes to the facility that you see here on the right side, where it is a little bit too late to understand the principle. So they study the principle with presentations and so forth in school, and then they experiment with it with close relationship with the utilities or with the academia, and then they come to the facility and see it implemented in real life. And then they do a project about it, how to improve it, what is their idea about it, and so on. And sometimes the students come up with great ideas. So that's the nature of it. Now, here is what we will do in terms of visits, because there is a challenge in terms of visit. So we created this virtual visit. So if you can see, there's special cameras and so forth, and the students can view it like this. And let's take a look at this video, and you will see how it works. רם, רואים את התמונה? רם, רואים את התמונה? Do you see the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
אצלי לא רואים, אמנון, לא.
This is in the facility, but I can move around. You see, if I move the cursor, I can move around. So we go along.
I'm not sure we can see it.
We do not see it.
I'm not...
You have...
לפתוח את זה מיוטיוב. לא רואים את הוידאו, תפתח... לא רואים את הוידאו, תפתח את זה מיוטיוב.
רם, עכשיו בסדר?
לא, לא רואים את זה. לא, זה לא רואים את זה.
אוקיי, אז מה לעשות?
אני חושב שעדיף לפתוח את זה ישירות מיוטיוב, לא בתוך המצגת. תפסיק את השיתוף ותפתח את זה ביוטיוב.
Okay, I'll try to do that. Let's see. So I will stop sharing for a minute. Bear with me for a minute. I want to show you because it's really very interesting. Okay, אז עכשיו זה ביוטיוב פתוח. רגע. אוקיי, רגע.
עכשיו תשתף את המסך, תשתף את הטאב של היוטיוב.
אוקיי, בסדר?
אוקיי.
רואים את זה עכשיו?
כן, תלחץ פליי. כן, יופי.
Okay, so you see now we have now we are in the facility. Okay, let me go back a minute and to show you. Okay, so we are now in this facility, and it's a virtual visit. Now, these are water filters, big water filters. So we had a drone taking pictures from around, and we went into the filter, and so you can see the water. So here's the situation. And the drone is taking up to take a visit of the whole thing. And here we're going into the filter, and you can see the water, you see? And the children can look around and they can really see the facility. It's a fascinating technology. Here, this is the big pump hole. So this is how the water is pumped into the facility. And you have bigger pumps here. And again, you can see the water. And here you see, these are huge, high power pumps, 70 bar. So you see the entire process. And again, you can look around by yourself with the goggles. So you feel like you are in the facility, and then you go into the membrane. And you can see actually the membrane and how they are structured, and see how many of them. And you see what happens is,
I'm not sure if they can see it, but I will post.
Here. So this entire thing, is very detailed. But I want to show you this progresses, and now you see, for instance, a maintenance cycle. This fellow is repairing this membrane. So the students learn from ahead how the membrane works, and how they see the membrane being disassembled, and how this is kept, because there is maintenance question. There is wear and tear, and the membranes have to be replaced. And so what is the structure? Now, this is a very interesting and important facility. When you desalinate seawater, you use a lot of energy. In order to make this effective, you recover part of the energy, and that's a big mechanism that does it. And you can build a model of it in Lego, for instance, and so forth. So we explain everything about it, but again, the children can see. So this is basically the principle. I think we will stop here and go back to the presentation. But the idea is that you will be able to visit us with the facilities, and you will be able to see. רם, זה בסדר? אנחנו על ה-full screen? Are you seeing the full screen?
אתה בפרזנטר view.
Okay, hold on a minute. Let me go back. It will take a minute. Eventually, I will practice. Eventually, I will be able to do it right. A few more countries on the twinning, and I will be perfect. Okay, is this better now?
Okay, now we can see. כן,
Okay, very
רואים
good.
טוב.
Okay, so you see, this is the virtual tour, and you can have some demonstration and some explanation on how to use it and so forth. So this is very helpful, and you'll be able to see it. Now, this is the same treatment to the subject of wastewater reclamation. What is the process, the biological reactors and the physical reactors and so forth. And also, as I told you, when you are done and you have the water ready for irrigation, you use special piping painted in purple, so you don't mix it with other systems, and you use drip irrigation to use it. So it's a whole concept, and of course we research the ramification and the impact, and this requires a whole water supply system different, because our supply now comes from the sea. In the past, it came from the Sea of Galilee. Now we're using desalinated water, and the other way around. We pump it up to the Sea of Galilee, and this is exciting. So you see the entire new pumping system. And so we do courses on water pumping and the energy required and so forth. When you work about desalination, about reclamation, you work about bacteria and about growth and the mathematics of exponential growth and decay and the cycle. And this is a nice research work that the children at Kiryat Gat did, another nice Rotary club there. And what you see here is that they are rinsing soil that in a simulated mode, again, talking about safety. Of course, you cannot use reclaimed water in school for safety reasons. So we simulate something like reclaimed water, and then we water the soil with this reclaimed simulated water, and we watch the impact it has on the soil, and it does have an impact. So what do? So you prepare to wash the water. So we are sort of telling the children that, we are now exporting this technology, but if people around the world start to ruin their soil, who will they come for advice in 20 years' time if there's something happening to their soil? And of course, the children would say they will come to us because we invented it here in Israel and we sold it to them and so forth. And so we said to them, well, true, they will come to Israel, but in 20 years' time, who is it that they will be looking for in Israel? And then, of course, they realize we are talking about them and about their future. So all of a sudden, their engagement in the study is by far more interesting. It's now the biology of the bacteria and the physics of pumping water into it and the mathematics of growth all become very relevant. So this is what is happening. The next subject is the water supply system and pressure and pumps and so forth. And we also do a lot of work on history. So this is an ancient water well pump. When I say ancient, about 2,000 years old, and it's been reconstructed, and we are analyzing it as if it is a class in physics, and the forces and the moment and the inertia and the energy that needs to come in. So it's an excellent course in physics. So you can do that with similar arrangement. Now, to support the activity, we use very modern educational tools like data loggers. They are very affordable, and they plug into each other, and then they plug to the cell phone through wireless and so forth. And it's a matter of around $50 per sensor, and you can have a sensor for pH, for pressure and motion and so forth. So that is very easy to come by. It's available on Amazon, and we can then help you do some courses. Of course, if you have other tools in the school having to do with pH or pressure and so forth, you can use whatever tools you have in the lab in school. But that's an opportunity that we suggest if you need something very affordable and very usable, very, very modern. And then this is the graduation event, which of course we will be doing in a virtual manner. And here are a couple of examples of what you can present. If you have a Lego model of a pump, you can present it, or a process, a chemical process that you can show, and the report and so forth. And there are always awards and prizes at the end of it. The students usually work with posters like in a science fair, and it's very professionally done. By the way, we can support you and guide you a little bit in doing that, but it's very important that eventually it gets to become very professional. Of course, you know, there are always the logo here, and the Rotary is shown, and High Teach and so forth, and of course your school and the local Rotary Club, but it is done in a very professional manner. And if you have a poster like this, and we can help you edit it, and you present it in this virtual booth, and someone comes along, ask a question, you can talk about it. So it's a very useful tool for short talk, and the students pick it up quite quickly, and this is a nice way. This is a twinning project that we did with a school in America, and they were here and actually visited us 3 years ago. So we will have the opportunity to do that. Initially, we will do it over the internet, but then of course, in the future, hopefully the COVID will go away and we can actually have some visit and some RHAW and a Rotary exchange. We also take the students sometimes to water exhibitions, and this was very interesting last year. They come, they hear about challenges of water in the world. We had someone from Romania and someone from India last year, and they learn about the problems there. And then they visit the exhibition, very brand new technology. And then they brainstorm together, Jews and Arabs from different groups and so forth, and they come up with solutions. And then they present it in English on the same day to Rotarians and to people from all over the world. So this is a very exciting adventure, a big show, and the students are, of course, very proud. This is last year, and this is the award that we got as a noteworthy program. And so this is really very exciting, and a lot of Rotarians come to visit. This is the Haifa Club, and PDG Avner Fuchs, the chair of the Water and Sanitation Committee, Rotarians from across the country. And again, this is Barry Racing saying, pure and simple, this is Rotary. You must examine how to take the wonderful things you do here to the world. That's what he said, and that's what we hope to be doing together with you. So thank you very much for your attention. This is what at the end of the day, the student said to VPRI Babalula. He is to be PRI, I think, in 2 or 3 years. And when he visited the school, he asked the student, so what's in it for you? Why do you enjoy the program? What is the benefit from you? And the student's answer was really very exciting. He said, we learned that we can understand things. So it is not just the equation or the story they hear from school that they need to memorize for the exam, but they know that they can understand things deep down and then be creative. And that's a big achievement. So we're very proud of it. These are the supporters of the programs in Israel. And I'm sure that you will be able to recruit similar arrangement of utilities and academia and the Ministry of Education and all kinds of companies. And you will get benefit from working with them, from their real knowledge about water, financially with some support, because as we go forward, we will need support for the program. Right now, in terms of the support, we actually had support only for the program in Israel, and we sort of said, we want to explore this international twinning program. So we took a little part of it and we set it to translate the content to English and to run this work that we do with you now, but we don't really have major dollars to support the international activity. But later on, we expect to have such arrangement of companies from Poland, Romania, India, and so forth, and then we will be able to establish a financial base to run the entire program. And so this would be the idea. I want to show you some demo of things we do with Lego so that you will be able to see how effective this is. Here is an example of a device that we have developed using Lego, and this is a demonstration of a pump and a motor and water pressure arrangement. And this is really a very simple arrangement, but it demonstrates water pumping and the energy that's required and so forth. with a pressure gauge and so forth. And there are very many other devices, and you can use very simple devices to do that. Let me show you one or two examples before we let you ask questions, because I want you to have some time to relate to the questions. So here's an example of a very simple experiment that you can do, you know, very simply, and you can use water pumping to רם, אני עושה sharing לסקרין הנכון?
רואים, אבל עדיין אם לא עשית פליי עדיין, תעשה את זה על מסך מלא אבל כדי שיראו את זה.
אוקיי. רואים?
כן.
Okay, so what we have here is an amazing thing. Watch what happens. This is a simple, maybe $50 kit that has a container and a little water pump driven by 12 volts, so it is safe. And it pumps water. Where does it come from? It is not for education. This comes from windshield wiper from a car. So this is a retrofit set for a car. You can buy it on Amazon. It's very, very cheap. Now, you can run the pump with a variable power supply, and here's the water coming out of it. And it's coming, it goes to elevation, and now you have the physics of MGH, the energy, the power that goes into it electrically, the power that comes out of it mechanically, and so forth. So watch how a simple experiment like this can teach you a lot. You can spend a whole week studying physics with an arrangement like this, which we did, and it's a very lovely example. So, and we have many examples like this. So the idea is that we develop simple STEM activities based on water and based on the interest area that you have, if it is chemistry, quality of water, quantity of water, supply, and so forth. I think this is pretty much what we intended to show you. I only want to show you one thing. We provided you a link to the content, and the content is very interesting. What you see is a Google Drive content. Ram, is this shared okay?
I found 22 on Wikipedia.
Okay.
Drive viewer on the web allows the following file formats to be viewed.
Okay.
Here are the first 5.
Okay. So now I have Google speaking to me, but here what I want to show you.
JPEG, PNG, video files, WEBM, MPEG4, audio format, MP4.
עדיין שומעים את זה.
We have Google intervening here, but okay. So what I want to show you is that in this folder, which you have access to, you have sections going from 0 to 8. So what you have here is a presentation about desalination and about water reclamation. Of course, you have the twinning program, the presentation that you see now, right now here in part 0. And then the global water crisis in more detail. And then an example about the crisis in Florida. So it's not the same as in Israel. In Florida, there's flooding. I'm sure in Poland it will be different. And then how we treat wastewater, how we do desalination, how we prevent leakages, how we irrigate in a smart manner, and how we save water at home with aerators, and how we plan to protect the sea from plastic waste. So we have a look at the environment. And so you can look at all of those and pick any, and so it gives you an idea. And then when you pick up the subject you want to address, you use this as a reference, and of course we will help you more specifically. So this is pretty much what I wanted to show you. And I want to turn the stage to you, and Mayan, you can manage it and see if there are any questions. We will be glad to answer.
So may I?
Time schedule, you know, as you prepare, since we want to have this sharing in March, you want to be able to have some kind of product towards the middle of February, thereabout. You know, even if it's not complete, but you have something, just, you know, a piece of art that you painted, or maybe the plan, or if you have a product that's lovely, that's even nicer, and so that you can present it to the schools in Israel and respond to them. So you don't need to worry about having the full thing complete. It is clear we have COVID and so forth. By the way, we also created a chapter about COVID, very interesting, except it is in Hebrew. We are making an effort to translate it to English now. It would be very nice. So it's also a subject. And you know, in Israel, there is an experiment to try and monitor the level of COVID in the waste, in the sewage. So it's interesting, but it is not ready yet. It will be ready in a week or 2 weeks. So by all means, if you have questions, we're listening and we will be glad to answer.
May I? Amnon, may I ask a question?
I think there is too much information. Everyone is overwhelmed.
No. I do have some questions.
So what do the students have to ask?
Can you hear me?
Amnon, can you hear me? Amnon?
The students probably ask, where are the games here? Well, there are games in the system as well, so that will also be available.
Amnon, can you hear me?
Okay. Well, if you have other questions, we will send you an email with our email of Marianne and also of Ram and myself, and we will be available to answer you and to support you. I think we will have another meeting. I think in 2 or 3 weeks' time, we will discuss it with Marianne and decide and let you know. In the meantime, you can look at the content. So it's not.
I think you have to use the chat to ask him a question.
Opportunity to ask.
No, I think Amnon is not hearing us. Amnon, can you hear me?
Do you? You don't hear
off.
me? Hold on a minute. Oh yeah,
we hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. My speaker was down because there was noise. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so Amnon, we have questions. We do have a lot of questions, and Anna wanted to ask a question. So I think now we can, you can hear us, and she can ask the questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. First, I would like to know about the dates. You mentioned March 22nd. Do you mean this year?
Yes, of course.
Okay, then could you tell us about the duties of the Rotary clubs in that project?
Okay. In general, the role of the Rotary Club, of course, is to support the activities from the school. So on one hand, to recruit schools, which you have done lovely, and then to recruit the schools, and then to help us in the twinning. And so when we do the twinning, the Rotary Club can escort, and then to help the school in the connection with utilities and with and the support.
Could you switch off your?
So it very much depends on what the school needs. The Rotary Club works with the school, and the idea is that the Rotary Club supports the school in working on a project. And every school will do it in a different manner, and the Rotary Club will support it. And then, of course, the connection with us.
Okay, and let me know anything about the money. Is there any money for that project from Rotary Foundation, or are we to cover all the costs by ourselves?
No, I will, it's a good question. I will explain. There is no coverage from Rotary Foundation for this aspect. There was a little, first of all, the funding from the Rotary has not arrived yet for the program, although we spent most of the money already, but it should be coming very shortly. But what we did was we took part of the funding that was available and we used it to create the content. So the creation of the content and every effort that we do now and support the teacher, that we have a very little amount of money, a few $1,000 available to be able to do that. There is no additional support from the Rotary at this current grant to be spent, on the different territories. But what we will need to do going forward is to recruit maybe a water utility, maybe a donation from the EU, maybe from the municipality and so forth, so that we will have more funding available for next year. You can run the program with very little funds as well, as I showed you, with very minimal tools as well. So you don't need a lot, but it would be good for every school to have, a little budget of, maybe $1,000 or $2,000 available. And we will need funding more, of course, in the center to be able to support and to do more content and to organize. So we do not have the full base for next year. This year we had a section of what we had allocated for the program in Israel to support what we are doing now, which, by the way, is very costly. Remember, we had, this is the session number 4 we have with Poland. We will have more, of course, with you in the future, and there's more content, and we will translate. So this is the basis, and there is no major dollars available in the global grant to be able to do it. In fact, this was a pilot. It was mostly aimed at continuing the Rotary Hands Across Border in Israel, but we felt that we needed to do something in the pilot, and so this is what we did. So it's a window, but we don't have major dollars for it. Now, going to the future, we may be able to do something else. There is the possibility of working between a Rotary Club in Eastern Europe and in America, and that can get funded. And so this will be our next plan. Once we complete these initial phases and prepare for the graduation event, we will start to look immediately on what we do next. We will apply for what is called the Program of Scale. Program of Scale is a very large program. It has $2 million allocated, and we were recommended to it. So we will try that, and that will solve our problems. Or we will try to do some engagement, specific between Eastern Europe and the US, for which we can get together some grants. So that is a possibility. So this is our next challenge for next year.
So if there is a school, because we have a school, our club has a school, we want to be involved in that project. So it is us who are responsible for the funds till the March 22nd.
Yes. And of course, this is very important, and I want to be very, very clear. This is something subtle, and it was not, it doesn't, it's not self-explanatory, and I want to repeat it. I said it is very important that the content relates to the curricula. Now, when the content relates to the curricula, then the mathematics teacher teaches mathematics, and the English teacher teaches English. And the science teacher.
Yeah, that is clear. But when we talk about Lego devices and other things,
yes,
3D cameras, it requires money.
That's right. Now we don't have to start with Lego. Remember, we are using the devices now, having worked on the program for 15 years already, and 8 of them with the Rotary. So you don't have to have, fully fledged Lego suits right from day one, but it's a good idea. Yes, if you have a budget for Lego equipment, then of course experimentation would be much nicer. And we have, by the way, a lot of know-how as to how to use it. These are very sophisticated Lego devices. They come from the Lego Education Milestone package. There are a number of packages like this. And yes, if you want to buy the whole thing, it could be, $1,000 or $1,500, to make a set like this. And the test equipment. But you need to be able to combine the STEM with the challenge of the water, with the curricula, before you start to spend a lot of money on the equipment. Don't get carried away with the equipment. As I showed you, with a little pump like this that you can buy for $2 as a used pump in a garage, and a water, in a car repair shop, or you can buy even brand new at Amazon for maybe $50. You can do a lot with that. So you need to develop your skill in terms of the STEM, and not start with a high-end Lego equipment. If you have funds available, yes, by all means you can do it, and we will be able to support it. We have more funding going forward. We will be able to support with more content and so forth. So yes, it's a good goal for next year, but you don't need to worry about it for this year. Whatever you have, you can jointly buy, a couple of pumps like this, for maybe $200 for all the schools and share it among them and so forth. So you'll have something in principle and some tools. But, the schools have some labs, so you can study and you can examine pH and turbidity and so forth with the devices without a lot of expenditure. And we can show you how to do some even at home. By the way, are your students back in school now, or are they still studying from home with Zoom, with remote?
Right now they have holidays until January 17th, and then they will continue to learn online.
They will come online only. I see.
Yeah,
Very
but
good. Okay.
when you have a village school, you can do things, but the problem is that if we have so little time and no money practically,
okay, so
we can make a simple things. As you said, this is the pilot project.
Right,
So we can do simple, easy things just to start with. And then perhaps next year, when we have more supplies, we can we can do some more ambitious.
Anna, this is exactly the right approach. So you do some experimentation and some painting. You do some research on the internet about the water challenges in Poland. What are the challenges? You can do this on the internet. And so you can do that for this year. We can show you a couple of simple experiments that the students can do at home that are safe. Using cabbage, you can prepare some indicators and examine the pH of the water and see what happens when you use Coca-Cola or when you use lemon or whatever, and how the pH changes. And so you can do some chemical experimentation. You can do some water pumping experimentation, even the students at home. So that is very easy with an internet study of what you can do. Gives you a background, and you can even communicate with the utility and have them make a presentation to the class about the problems in Warsaw or in Lodz and so forth. So there are a lot of things you can do, and you don't have to worry about starting with a high end. The idea would be to get prepared, to do the background, have the teachers prepared, and they can study the presentation. Even our presentation, the students can look at our presentations that I shared with you. And then they can make a presentation. They can translate it to Polish. They can present it to the class. A student in Warsaw can say, here is what is done in Israel. Here is how they desalinate water. And then you can come up with a presentation like this about a different challenge that you have in Gdansk. And what do you do about it? What happens in Gdansk because of the shipyard, because of the shipping and the proximity to the harbor? Is there a challenge of pollution, and what is the situation there? So you can do this over the internet. You can do this with an interview. So you get in the spirit of doing it, and it doesn't all necessarily have to be exactly like this, especially that this is a challenging year.
Okay. So next meeting, it is possible that the teachers will receive some examples of tasks or experiments from you?
Yes, you can see it in the presentation. And I would like to ask you before we leave to write down your email and telephone numbers and contact and information about the school in the chat, so we can communicate with you, especially the teachers. And yes, there are examples of experiment in the presentations, and we can send you more as we proceed, so we can see it, and some of the ideas that we discussed now.
Wonderful, thank you. That's all from me.
Okay, excellent. I think this was lovely. I enjoyed it very much. Marianne, you want to say some concluding words?
Yes, I think that it will be nice if we meet next time with some proposals from schools, some ideas what the schools would like to do. For example, one of my intention is to present a fine art contest, a kind of a competition of art paintings. But it is just one part of this very big project, of course. So it is one. Another what might be a suggestion is just to collect what clubs, whatever schools would like to do in this project. And then we may create the new, I think that global grant, if we have a good idea and if we have acceptance from TRF. But
yes, absolutely, and we can certainly help you on that. Yes.
Jointly with you, of course.
Yes, 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 we will do together, and I think it can be done, and it's okay. But yeah, by all means. So, Marianne, you think we need 2 weeks or 3 weeks for him? What do you think?
Just ask audience.
Okay, so what do you say, teachers? You want to meet together in 2 weeks' time?
I think the sooner the better.
No, I think, I'm sorry.
To be ready in March.
2 weeks time is too soon. Okay, there will only be 1 week for the kids to work on the project. It's not enough, really.
But you don't need the students here. If we are talking about a subject, we can focus on what is interesting for the teachers.
Okay.
You know, the students come later. We first want to make sure that the teachers go over the content and have some ideas. You know, if it is not interesting for the teachers, then it is not interesting for the students as well. If it is interesting for the teachers, then the students become interested as well. So I think, you know, 2 weeks is a good idea, but we know let's set it up for 2 weeks. And then if you feel it is too early, we can always postpone it. So not a problem.
You know, I'm sorry, because, you know, next week it's still winter break in Poland. And, you know,
So
some of the teachers are somewhere else.
Still unavailable, so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we make it 3 weeks.
That's why
3 weeks is better. So we'll make it 3 weeks. Very good.
3 weeks, I think it's gonna be, you know, in this short time, we just can kind of promote how to save water.
Right,
in
right.
this short time, you know.
Yes.
What's the problem? Nothing more, I think. But we try.
Marianne,
Yeah, we
so
can
I think
try.
we have the public votes. You know, voting is important now, as we know in America. So I think the public votes for 3 weeks now.
I think 3 is gonna be better.
Okay, very good. So with 3 weeks, and you know, if we need to change, we can change. That's not a problem. Excellent, very good, very good. So, and in the interim, if you have questions, by all means, you can write to Ram or to myself. And okay, Ram, you want to say hello and some goodbye to the team?
It was lovely to meet you all. It's very exciting to see all of you. There's a lot of teachers here and Rotarians. So welcome aboard.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Ram. Okay. All right, Marianne. So I think we have an excellent meeting. I will send you the link to the recording so everybody can listen to it, maybe more teachers and so forth. And we'll be looking forward to questions that you have and to our meeting in 3 weeks' time.
In 3 weeks' time.
Okay.
All right, very good.
So we meet on 21st of January.
Yeah.
Thursday?
Yeah, we are in the habit of doing it on Thursday. So Thursday is the Polish day.
Good.
Very good. Shlomo, you want to say goodbye? You want to say something?
Okay.
I want to say goodbye. I want to say that I've been nervous. I haven't spoken in English for years.
But your English is so good. So, you know, I wish my Polish was as good as your English, you know. This is excellent.
Okay. I speak Polish, yes? Dziękuję bardzo za spotkanie. Było bardzo przyjemnie. Poznałem jeszcze parę ludzi. I wyobrażam sobie, że wszystko jest w porządku, że się udało to spotkanie. Dziękuję bardzo.
No tobie dziękujemy, Shlomo.
Dziękujemy bardzo.
Dziękujemy bardzo. Pozdrowienia z Białegostoku. Dobranoc.
Do widzenia.
Dobranoc.
Dobranoc.
Mhm.
Dobranoc.
Okay, bye bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
Maria, gdzie mam leave?
Bye.